Mehdi Hassan goes on Jubilee to ostensibly debate far-right conservatives, but finds quickly that he's debating actual full-blown neo-Nazis. Oh, not this guy! Oh my god! I've wanted to watch this dude since I started this. This is, I believe, part 2. If you haven't seen the other, don't sweat it. Sins independently of the rest. This is a full-blown, self-avowed authoritarian fascist. Says that he likes fascism and he likes General Franco from World War II, allies with Germany in World War II. Just give this a listen.
Thank you, sir.
Medhi, lovely to meet you.
So I would say that with Trump being anti-constitution, I don't really care, to be quite frankly.
Okay.
Because
to be quite frankly, look, brother, I know that you are nervous, but you don't need to say quite frankly, but quite frankly, you don't need to say quite frankly as frequently as you do, as you guys will see that he does in a second.
in regards to the Constitution is a document that should seek to serve us. Yes. And when it fails to seek to serve us, that can be amended. Laws can be changed.
Absolutely, 100%. I totally agree with you. Through democratic processes, we should be able to amend the Constitution, and we can. But violating the Constitution is a totally different thing. We shouldn't violate the Constitution. We should change it.
And quite frankly, the fact is...
Oh boy, here we are on the quite frankly bandwagon again.
To serve us, that can be amended. Laws can be changed. And quite frankly, the fact is, we're defending things in this country that shouldn't be defended. The First Amendment should not defend pornography and make...
Free speech? We shouldn't be allowed to use our freedom of speech? Are you serious right now?
Making children and women be victimized. Making women and children be victimized as a result of that. I think things like blasphemy shouldn't be allowed per the First Amendment.
Oh boy. The claps are a little more lackluster this go around, huh?
I think that quite frankly,
there's one fucking asshole back there clapping his hands to bloody nubs.
Like blasphemy shouldn't be allowed per the First Amendment. I think that quite frankly, there are a lot of legal processes that are enabling criminals and bad people to fully enact their will in this country in the name of the Constitution or following the Constitution. So quite frankly, if Trump is
There's that quite frankly again. Quite frankly, this is quite frankly too many quite franklys.
Constitution, good, and I think he should go further.
So this is wonderfully revealing of the modern conservative mindset. So I appreciate you spelling it out so openly. Just checking, do you support the Second Amendment?
I do.
Okay, surprise. I was shocked to hear that. I'm saying that Donald Trump is defying the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment. He's thinking of defying the 12th and 22nd Amendments. You're saying you don't care about the Constitution, but actually you do because you quite like the Second Amendment. You just don't like the bits that you disagree with. Can I just be clear on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm more than willing to...
So what he's saying is, I have no principles. I don't believe in freedom of speech. I believe in freedom of my own speech. I should be able to say what I want, and you should not be able to say what you want. He doesn't operate off of a principle. He doesn't want society as a whole to operate cleanly or prosper before or after him. He wants control, plain and simple. Pure, unadulterated control of a situation, and he wants to force his will on other people. That's what he's saying. Quite frankly,
I'm more than willing to amend it and include
whenever it's in
Second
your
Amendment.
favor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So can Democrats do the same when they're in office?
No, absolutely not. Because
so you don't
it's the
believe in
friend
democracy?
Enemy. No, I don't.
Okay, you may not have heard it there. He said it's the friend enemy something or other, right? The friend enemy principle is a principle proposed by a Nazi theoretician named Carl Schmitt. This dude is a Nazi. Like, not a pretend, oh, he said something racist Nazi, but an actual full-blown Hitler-loving Nazi. Like a real Nazi that knows the names and theories of Nazi theoreticians. Hang on. Let me just look this up here. The friend-enemy principle is one of the core ideas in political philosophy of Carl Schmitt, a controversial German legal theorist and Nazi-era jurist. Schmitt argued the specific political distinction to which political actions and motives can be reduced is that between friend and enemy. Politics is defined by conflict, not consensus. The essence of the political is identifying who is a friend, insider, or ally, and who is an enemy, outsider, or threat. This distinction is existential, not moral or economic. That is, an enemy is not just someone you dislike. They are someone you view as a threat to your way of life, possibly to the point of justifying war or exclusion. So here's the bottom line. The friend-enemy distinction or principle is a justification for people to trample all over other people's rights and protect their own rights at the expense of others. That's what he's laying out. But I do find it absolutely wild that this guy is citing a Nazi for his moral and political philosophy. Schmidt rejected liberal democracy and believed that pluralism weakens political unity. He thought liberalism's attempt to depoliticize conflict, like through laws, rights, or markets, was doomed because true political identity arises through confrontation. His principle justified authoritarian power, arguing that a sovereign must be able to declare the enemy and suspend law in emergencies. Jesus Christ.
Absolutely not.
What do you believe in?
Autocracy.
By who?
Honestly, quite frankly, anyone who is in line with Catholic teaching.
There's quite frankly again. I think he likes saying quite frankly because he loves Franco so much. And, you know, they kind of share a root word, I guess. Franco, frankly.
Donald Trump is not Catholic.
Of course, he's not. I completely agree, and
So
that's
you
part of
support
the problem.
Trump? You don't support Trump?
No, I don't. I didn't even vote for him. I wrote in like John Pork or someone. I can't even remember.
Why did you vote if you don't believe in democracy and you want autocracy?
Well, because quite frankly, I voted. I kind
fascinating.
of voted just to.
I came with this
troll a
argument,
little bit,
but I'm bored of my own argument. I'm much more interested in this. So
yeah, absolutely.
How do we get to an autocracy?
I think, quite frankly, that
Boy, those quite frankly's, though.
if we are able to enact local leaders,
Who's the we, by the way?
I think, quite frankly, these far-right conservatives sitting right around
White
me.
people?
Yeah,
No brown
absolutely.
people. So,
Well,
some
actually,
of you guys,
I have quite.
some of the people in
I
this
have
room
quite-
don't make the cut
No,
from what I can see visually.
Actually,
Okay.
hold on for a moment. I do think that there are people who happen to not be white who do actually have history in this country and have roots in this country. For instance, from the Mexican-American War, we subsumed a lot of territory of people who have far stakes in this country who happen to be Hispanic or what have you.
Okay.
I'm for defending the traditional demographics of this country, which is majority white, and should stay that
How
way.
does the United States? I mean, we've gone so off topic, but how does the United States look like under you? Sorry, what's your name?
My name is, my name's Connor. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Took a little bit of a doubt there.
Oh, well,
saying your name.
I use
Connor-
a pseudonym online.
Fair enough.
But
Connor,
fair enough.
How would Connor's America look? What would it look like?
Well, quite frankly, I think we would deport people who shouldn't be here.
I didn't ask about
whether-
deporting. What does the government look like?
What does the government look like?
Yeah.
I would say, quite frankly, it's under
Ooh, there's quite frankly again.
a sort of benevolent leader such as
Where does he come
Franco. It could be a
Benevolent leaders such as Franco, he says. Franco was a benevolent leader, apparently, in this guy's mind. If you're unaware of the era, like, there were the Allies and the Axis, right? And the Allies were people like Britain under Churchill and Neville, I guess, Neville Chamberlain. The United States and, I don't know, like China was one of the Allies, although they were not anywhere near as powerful as they are today. And then you had the Axis powers, which is like Japan and Germany and Italy and a bunch of others, all the territories that Germany took. And Franco of Spain was one of the Axis powers. He went through a civil war in Spain during World War II, and Germany, the Axis powers, supported Franco in that civil war and succeeded. They succeeded. When you say you side with Franco, what you mean is you side with Hitler. They were on the same side. It was the same side. And Franco murdered countless people that he didn't like. Communists, anybody to the left of hunting the homeless for sport or hunting immigrants for sport. Those are the ones that got murdered. Now, I'm sorry, there's no excuse for murdering people wantonly. None. Zero. And you'll hear in a second, this guy's going to try to give an excuse for Franco murdering wantonly. There is no excuse for it. At the very least, bare minimum, Franco should have, if there were genuinely bad people, should have put him in prison instead of murdering them wantonly. Should have at least given him a trial, something, anything. He took the military in and unloaded on them. Now, I don't know if Franco did this specifically, but let me just draw out the environment. It was an authoritarian regime. Russia was also an authoritarian regime at the time, Soviet Union, although they ended up siding with us. They could have just as easily sided with Germany. Russia could have, if they had gotten what they wanted and if Germany hadn't been so aggressive. At the end of the war, Russia was putting people in prisons, like just throwing Germans in prison randomly. And when they ran out of storage space, they would take their weapon and they would just stand in front of the prison bars and just unload their weapon into the prison cell and drag out the dead bodies to make room for new ones. That's the type of shit that Franco did. That was the environment that was fostered under the Axis. Again, though, Russia, they were part of the Allies by the end of the war, by the time this happened. The point is that, like, these people are brutal, evil, horrific, disgusting, vile, like, vultures that are, that did things that are absolutely unacceptable. And I'm an atheist, so I don't believe in hell, but part of me wishes that there were a hell so that these people would have faced consequences for what they did instead of just going lights out. That's probably the biggest injustice in the world, is that Hitler and Stalin and a bunch of these other people got away with it and lived rich, full, happy lives where they got to live in luxury and have a lot of money and got to see their plans come to fruition and then died on their own terms in their own way. It's fucking disgusting. And this vile sack of shit on screen on the right here, this vile piece of trash, says that Franco was a good guy and that he wants a Franco type of person in power. I'm horrified by the fact that this guy was not booed out of this chair and out of this fucking building. He lost his job. Great. That's fantastic. Supposedly, he lost his job, according to him. That's not good enough for me. We need to, I don't believe in violence under any circumstances. I'm a pacifist, a complete pacifist. We need to make these people be afraid to express these opinions, though, for fear of social consequences at the very least. Because this shit is unacceptable, honestly.
Kind of aristocratic class could be someone who
picks the autocrat.
Frankly, the people. I mean, we could hold a vote on it. Kings were.
Isn't that democracy?
Well, sure. You can have a vote to get.
They want to use democracy against itself. Yes, they've been talking about they being Nazis. Been talking about this since the 30s, of course.
To that state.
And then no more votes afterwards.
Absolutely.
Wow.
100%.
Wow. And if that autocrat kills you and your family, you're fine with that?
Well, I'm not going to be a part of the group that he kills, because that's the whole thing.
How do you know? Autocrats tend to kill everyone, even their own supporters. Carl Schmitt makes this point very well in his work. It's the friend-enemy distinction, right? Carl Schmitt, the Nazi theoretician.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care.
Are you a fan of the Nazis?
Yeah, obviously he is. Yes, it was right for Medhi Hassan to establish this fact, but yes, he is a fan of the Nazis, and he does call himself a Nazi. Yes.
Okay, I frankly don't care being called a Nazi at all.
I didn't say that. I didn't actually say that. I said, are you a fan of the Nazis?
Well, they persecuted the church a little bit. I'm not a fan of that. But
what about the persecution of the Jews?
Well, I mean, I certainly don't support anyone's human dignity being assaulted. I'm a Catholic.
Okay. But he's a Holocaust denier, right? No, this is complete bullshit. And he knows better. He called himself a Nazi. He said, frankly, I don't mind being called a Nazi. He's a Nazi. And he realizes now, probably, if I had to guess, that he's getting himself into some hot water by saying this publicly in front of a massive audience. But I would be willing to bet if you checked his social media posts, he pretty much he consistently supports the Nazis.
But you don't condemn Nazi persecution of the Jews?
I think that there was a little bit of persecution and stuff like that, which is bad.
Because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you can say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am.
That laugh, though. And look at who's clapping.
Absolutely.
That's insane. That is insane. That they are so open and feel so comfortable coming out and saying this. You know, back in the 40s, there were like Superman comics that would come out, and Captain America, and he was famous for punching Nazis. Captain America was. What the fuck? This shit is wild.
I'm just checking who's clapping just to get my set of where everyone is on this. Because you know that millions of people are going to be watching you on YouTube and checking out who the fascists and the Nazis are.
I'm not ashamed of that whatsoever.
No, clearly you're not.
During the pre-war period, prior to World War II, it was only those parties that properly enacted the people's will. That's why they won. The conservatives were fat cats. They were aristocrats. They didn't care.
Are you in favor of killing people who aren't like you?
Quite.
Yes. Obviously, he is. Yes. Whatever he says next, if it's not yes, it's bullshit. He expressed support for Franco. Or you know what? Did we get to that part? I think he did, right? He does say he supports Franco. He likes him. He thinks he's a good guy. He did the right thing. I don't think that we've expanded on that quite yet, but Medhi Hassan is about to get there. He is a fan of the Nazis, and he does want people dead who he does not like.
Frankly, I'm not.
You mentioned Franco earlier. Franco killed a lot of innocent people.
Oh, well, he killed communists. He killed people who raped nuns and killed priests.
What about?
No, he killed all kinds of people, and communists are human beings. He killed people. What's more, he killed them wantonly, with no regard for the truth value of it, with no care as to whether he's getting the right people. He killed people because he could. He was evil.
Children who he killed and women who he killed.
What are you talking about? He never killed any women or children. He was Catholic.
He only killed combatants. Is that what you're claiming?
Yeah, he only killed combatants.
Never killed any innocent people.
The White Terror was only punishing those people who did acts of terrorism. And again, are you supporting like raping innocent women? Nuns, dude. Killing priests.
Nobody is supporting that, obviously. I think everybody's supporting due process, verifying that it was, in fact, actually combatants that were killed. I think that's what everybody is trying to get to. Franco killed people wantonly, with no regard for whether they were actually guilty of anything. It is like really horrifying to me to see that these people are so open about this.
Priests don't brandish guns and kill people.
You just refuse to condemn the Nazis.
That's not true. They do, but okay.
Dude, killing priests? Priests don't brandish guns and kill people.
You just refuse to condemn the Nazi Holocaust, my friend. I don't think you're in a position to ask anyone any questions.
I quite frankly don't care what you think about me.
Boy, there's that quite frankly again. Also, there's famously this priest from Budapest who supported Hitler in everything that he did, and he used to follow around a regiment of Nazis, and when they, line people up on a wall, this priest would hold up his cross and say, "In the name of Christ, fire." He was a Catholic priest. People have used religion throughout history to do horrific, disgusting, evil shit. And to even think that the Catholics were 100% innocent in World War II is delusion to a degree I cannot even touch. People ask, was Hitler an atheist? I wrote a whole book about it. Was Hitler an atheist? And the honest answer to the question is Hitler was not an atheist. He certainly didn't do his things for atheistic reasons. He did his shit for ideological reasons. And he did persecute the Catholic Church heavily. And he persecuted subsections of the Protestant Church because he wanted to control those institutions. And he knew that Catholicism, he wanted to get any institutions that had a chance of opposing him. He wanted to get them under his thumb. He wanted to get them to a point where he controlled the leadership. And he managed that with the Protestants by getting Helgard Muller elected as the Protestant leadership or whatever. When Helgard Muller, a Nazified Christian, when he took control, Hitler supported the Protestant Church, but he did not support the Protestant opposition to him. They even formed out their own denomination that they wanted to call Evangelische Nationalismos, Christian nationalists, Protestant nationalists, evangelical nationalists, that type of thing. Hitler vetoed that and named it German Christians instead, Deutsche Christen, or Deutsche Christen, actually. But anyway, the point is, Hitler wanted control of these institutions, and if he didn't have full control of them, then he would persecute them. And Catholicism was controlled by the Pope, an outside force from an outside country. It was in Italy, in Rome, at best, but really the Vatican is its own city-state, and was even back then. So he persecuted any organization that was not under his thumb. I think his whole thing was all ideological based. Frame it like Donald Trump. Hitler was very clearly more Christian than Donald Trump is. Clear as day, more Christian. But everything that Trump does is intended to seize control of organizations or of institutions, right? All of the persecution that Hitler did against Christians, all of it, every last bit, was an attempt to seize control of it. Otherwise, he didn't give a shit if religion existed. In fact, he encouraged people to be religious. And Goebbels considered leaving the Catholic Church, but Hitler specifically instructed Goebbels to stay in the Catholic Church for not just for tactical reasons, but because he believed that it was good for society to have religious belief. So was Hitler an atheist? No, he absolutely was not. He was a Christian. He was raised Catholic, though I think by the end of his life, I think that he was disillusioned by the power structure that existed as the Catholic Church, and he was more of just kind of a believer, just like believes in God type of deal. No strong, specific, named denomination. Anyway, so the point is that Hitler would persecute groups that he didn't directly control, including Catholics, and that's why the Nazis persecuted Catholics for a short time. But they, too, fell in line. The Catholics did. On my birthday, as a matter of fact, 1933, July 20th, on my birthday, they signed a concordat, a treaty with Hitler, basically saying, we will follow you, we will agree with you, we will swear an oath of loyalty to you if you allow us to control, the schools, and if you make it a criminal offense for people to wear priests' clothing without being ordained and things like that.
If I'm a Nazi and being a Nazi
is mutual,
if being a Nazi means upholding human dignity, because I even believe in your dignity. I don't in a state that I was running, I wouldn't want to hurt you or anything like that. But quite frankly,
I don't debate fascists.
Okay. So do you concede then? I mean, why
do I concede you're a fascist who won't condemn the Nazis?
Yeah.
Yes, I concede that.
Okay, great. So I mean, what are we doing here?
I don't know. What are we doing here? Why are you still in this seat?
Because you just seem offended.
What you're doing here,
you just seem offended, to be quite frankly.
I'm offended by people who can't condemn the Nazis. Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, I condemn the evils that they did, but I don't really care about
Jews?
being. Yeah, sure. I don't care about being called a Nazi. Sure. Is the whole thing.
I never called you a Nazi.
I care
you
about
called
doing
yourself
the right
a Nazi,
thing.
a fascist, and a General Franco supporter.
Well, yeah, I am a General Franco supporter. He was awesome. He was so super cool, quite frankly. Because the whole
and
thing.
You don't believe in democracy.
I don't believe in democracy.
What are you doing here at a televised debate?
Because
this is democracy.
He should be asking Jubilee what this guy is doing at a televised debate. He shouldn't be asking this fucking asshole what he's doing there.
Because it is the means to support an end. The reason we have free speech now is because we want to be openly talking about our opinions so we can get the state that we want. But it doesn't mean upholding free speech after we win. I mentioned
the only good thing about this fascist moment we're in is that you guys are so open about it.
The whole reason I mentioned
makes it a lot easier for us to identify him, right?
Quiet part loud.
The whole reason I mentioned Carl Schmitt earlier, and you kind of blew past him, is the friend-enemy distinction.
Past him because of the Nazi
even liberals, when they take power, they want to enact policies and they want to enact protections for their people and their ideas, and they're willing to punish their enemy. And so I'm the same way. I'm like, hey, if you're going to punish me, I'm going to get in power, and I'm going to frankly punish you when you try to leverage power.
Boy, this guy really likes the word frankly.
Against me. Just that simple.
I'm not sure what you would have said.
Hey, it is what it is.
All right. Pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
It's a pleasure to meet you, sir. I can't say the same, but
I can't believe he shook his hand. Probably instinct to shake someone's hand if they offer it, but I will not shake the hand of a fascist. An open, self-avowed fascist like that. I hope you get cancer.
so, thank you. Good to meet you, Medhi.
Good to meet you, sir. All right. So I kind of want to start at the basics or the foundation. I want to see.
Can I just check?
Yes.
Are you a fascist?
The answer is yes. I watched some of this. He is.
No.
Okay.
I don't. I describe myself as, I think, just a Christian.
Fair enough.
I'm a devout Christian.
Good to hear.
So, I want to start, like, what is your connection to the Constitution, and why do you love it so much? Like, what makes it so important that Trump would defy something like the Constitution to you personally?
Great questions. My first connection is I'm an American citizen. I naturalized American citizen, took a pledge to this country, to the Constitution. As a previous speaker has said, Constitution's not perfect. A lot of things I don't like about it. I don't like the Second Amendment. There's various amendments. I don't like the way the Senate is set up. I'm sure there's things you don't like about the Constitution. The difference is, I don't think you can just illegally defy the Constitution. I think each and every one of us can just make up whatever we want. Certainly presidents who are elected with an oath, right? Donald Trump took an oath to preserve, protect, defend the Constitution. And now when he's asked on television, isn't it your job to uphold the Constitution? He said on NBC, I don't know, which goes against his oath. And I'm identifying specific amendments where he is violating. He's only 6 months into his presidency, defying the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment. He wants to defy the 22nd Amendment and be president for a third term. This is the problem we have right now. Free speech is under assault. The free press is under assault. Due process is under assault. The right to be in your home and not be invaded by federal agents, the Fourth Amendment, is under assault. So that, for me, is a problem.
Okay. Well, I'd like to start to say I really don't find the Constitution that important. I find it to be like a 300-year-old document. And
The Constitution is actually, like, really incredible. It is a really incredible document. When you go back through the history of how and when it was written and why and by whom and everything, it's really, really impressive. Like, the shit that these people came up with. Some of them weren't even lawyers. I think James Madison wrote it. I don't believe that I could recreate the Constitution. And you know, I know a lot about the law. A lot. I know a lot about how our system of governance works and everything. The way that it was all split up, the separation of powers is truly deeply impressive, honestly. Like, really, holy shit. It protects everybody. It's designed to protect everybody. And it does a damn good job at it. I would argue maybe it's the best constitution in the world. Like, I don't know of a better one. Maybe there is. But it is real impressive. It's been bastardized and twisted around and warped into this big, ridiculous mess with guns and all that other stuff. But it's very, very impressive, actually.
it was created to defy the country that subjugated your ancestors in India, and then your parents probably moved from India to Britain, and then you move here to tell us that we should listen to a piece of paper that you were never even connected to begin with. So I want to say, like, if I don't care about it, why do you care about it so much?
How do
Because he fucking lives here. Are you shitting me right now? It protects everybody's rights. It protects us. It makes sure that we're all equal. We're all treated equally. What is your problem with it? Why do you have such a problem with it? I don't understand that.
you run a country without any kind of laws or due process? And by the way, you do care about it, because without the First Amendment, you wouldn't be sitting here.
Well, I agree with the First Amendment, and I think.
So do you agree with Donald Trump's crackdown on the First Amendment? He's imprisoning people for their speech. He's threatening free speech media organizations. He's threatening peaceable assembly. These are all rights under the First Amendment. Why aren't you bothered by that as a conservative who claims to love the First Amendment?
So I don't like the First Amendment. I like free speech.
Okay,
so
the First Amendment is what guarantees free speech. I'm from the UK, by the way.
Speech.
I'm from the UK,
Yeah, and you guys
which
don't
is a
have
democracy. We don't have the First Amendment. No, that's one of the things I do like about the Constitution. I wish the UK did have a First Amendment.
So people
I'm a
that get
journalist.
arrested for praying outside abortion clinics and stuff like that, right?
That's not happening. That's a lie. A fictitious lie. You know why people were arrested outside of abortion clinics? They were not praying. They literally, physically, it wasn't assault, it was battery. They physically broke somebody's ankle or something like that when they were pushing the door open they pushed the person against the wall and like broke their ankle, if I remember correctly, and did all kinds of other damage to them. Okay, October 2020, a group of anti-abortion activists forcibly blockaded entrances to clinics in Washington, D.C. That's illegal. Chaining themselves to doors and preventing access for medical staff and patients. That will get people killed, actually. Because this is an emergency clinic in a lot of cases. Their actions resulted in injuries, including a nurse's ankle sprain. My mistake, I thought it was broken. And interference with a woman in labor. Right, she was in labor because it's not just an abortion clinic. They do all kinds of different healthcare related things. And she literally, the doctor could not get to her to help. They were charged under the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act, a federal law enacted in '94 to protect reproductive health facilities from obstruction. In 2022 to 24, several participants, including Lauren Handy, Jonathan Darnell. What an unfortunate last name for a woman. Lauren Handy. John Hinshaw and others were convicted and sentenced to prison on charges such as conspiracy and clinic obstruction. They were pardoned. Down the line, one of the women who was pardoned apparently collected fetuses in her refrigerator. Like dead, dead fetuses. They found them in jars in her fridge. Like 9 of them. What the fuck? I mean, we knew that these people were not mentally well, but this is a different degree of not well, right? Were they hers? Where the fuck did she get these things is my question. And why? Oh yeah, to make it all connect back to the top, Trump pardoned these people. Yes, that's correct. Yes, thank you. Trump pardoned these people.
You're opposed to people being arrested for speech crimes, I assume.
Well, it depends what it is. If it's like the people...
so you're like one of the previous speakers. You don't.
No.
As long as it's someone who agrees with you, you don't mind the crackdown.
No, I support...
Either we consistently support principles
I support
or we
free
don't.
speech 100%.
Okay.
I don't think anyone...
So do you think Donald Trump is defying the Constitution by cracking down on the First Amendment?
So I think he's cracking down on free speech, like the deportation of Mahmoud Khalil, who's a...
Interesting. Okay, well, that's a principle, right? He says he violated Mahmoud Khalil's free speech by deporting him. All right.
He was just released from prison by a judge saying his First Amendment rights were violated.
And I agree with the judge, and I disagree with Trump deporting them. But I think that's more a matter of free speech and not the Constitution.
I think.
Are you kidding me? What role does this guy think the Constitution plays in free speech? Does he think that we don't need the Constitution because we have laws that exist to protect us from this stuff? I don't understand.
That's pedantry at this moment. I think you've conceded that he is cracking down on free speech, which is the First Amendment. So he is defying the Constitution. So it's a pleasure to be in agreement with you, sir.
All right, pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Thank you very much.
Good to meet you, sir.
I'm Medhi.
Medhi. Great to meet you. My name is Kai.
This guy, believe it or not, came across to me as the most intellectually honest. I know when you hear it, you're going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? I totally get it. But, out of the group that we're dealing with here, he seemed the most intellectually honest, so.
Medhi, believe that the Constitution is important and good?
Overall, yes.
Do you believe that that Constitution can be eroded through democratic processes?
What do you mean by erode?
The original intention of the Constitution being destroyed through a purely, democratic or legal process.
I'm not sure I agree with that.
Okay.
I think if you're democratically amending the Constitution per the rules of the Constitution, that's fine. If we could find a constitutional way to get rid of the Second Amendment, I'd be pro that.
So let's pose a hypothetical wherein the entire population of the United States has drastically changed.
Yes.
And the population now has completely different intentions about what to do with the country. Let's say it wants to give it all back to Mexico, dismantling the United States of America. If that's the case, then what's the use of the Constitution? It hasn't defended the country. In fact, it's allowed for its destruction.
I don't understand the premise. How did the whole country change?
Demographic replacement, mass migration. I mean,
He's a great replacement conspiracy theorist. This is, for the record, exactly the same argument as presented in World War II era Germany. You ever heard the term, the Jews will not replace us? They claimed that Jews were the immigrants of the era. They even called them aliens. They said they're aliens. We shouldn't have these aliens in Germany. We need to get them out. My mom is a fool. Whatever. Anyway. All right, let's continue.
We're seeing a change in demographics, and there's
What is the... I do want to talk about immigration today.
I hope we talk about it.
Everyone's itching in this group to get
Yes,
to
sir.
immigration.
Yes, sir.
I've saved it. I've saved it for you all. But given we're on the sense of the Constitution, and you asked the question, what is the proportion of immigrants in this country? What proportion of the population is foreign-born?
I think it's about 15%.
it's very difficult to measure because the actual projections of the number have been changing more rapidly.
But what is currently the best estimate of
foreign-born,
official
I think it was about 15%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just under 15%.
Which is, by the way, which is more actually than the original estimate was. So.
Okay, fine, whatever. Great replacement conspiracy theory. It's nonsense. We're not being replaced by anybody. Come on.
15% of the people are going to change the country, change the Constitution. How's that going to work? It's actually a nightmare. As someone who wants to amend the Constitution and get rid of things like the ridiculous way the Senate is set up, or the Second Amendment on guns, or various other things, it's really hard to change the Constitution. They made it almost impossible. You know, last time we had a Constitutional amendment?
You know
like
what?
20, 30 years ago.
I understand, which
and
is
it was
why
on, I think, members of Congress pay.
Which is why... No, I get it. I get
so where are you getting this scenario where 350-odd million people all become foreign-born migrants or the children of migrants, immediate migrants, even though America is a nation of migrants?
Yeah.
And then abandons the Constitution and gives the country back to Mexico. Outside of your imagination, where is that happening?
Let's bring it back to the actual discussion. What you did is you entertained my hypothetical, but then instead of sticking to the point of the Constitution, you said, well, how would you bring about your hypothetical? And then when I
you missed out the part where the Constitution's quite hard to change.
Hold on. I understand that. I gave you.
I also wanted to get a sense of where you are, and you're a great replacement guy. So that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, and you're a real good journalist because you don't talk to people who identify as like a political ideology.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I wouldn't. No, I think he talks to them. He just won't debate Nazis publicly. Self-avowed Nazis, Hitler-loving, Sieg-heiling Nazis. Yeah, I don't either.
I mean, that's
no, I don't debate fascists. I'll talk to them, but I won't debate them.
Frankly, that's upsetting. I think there's a big problem when, we value freedom of speech so much, but any,
Do you know why Nazis are so offended that they can't talk, that they can't get their word out, and you're such a snowflake? Because it helps them when you debate them. They benefit when you draw attention to this and give them your platform. That's why. You're only helping Nazis when you validate their belief by debating them. We shouldn't be debating Nazis. We should all have a line. I'm not going to debate somebody on whether it's okay to sleep with a child, because I'm not going to validate that belief system. It's fucking grotesque and evil and wrong. It's not being debated right now in honest circles, as it shouldn't be. And I'm not going to help it be debated more. I'm not going to help Nazis get coverage.
Real journalist is not going to talk to somebody because they identify with the politically incorrect ideology.
Just talk to the guy in front of you. What are you talking about?
You literally stopped talking to him, and then everybody had to vote him out.
Debating versus talking is very different.
Okay.
It's pointless, right?
Okay, yeah.
He doesn't believe in free speech.
Okay.
He doesn't believe in democracy.
He was freely speaking with you.
Yeah, he believes in his free speech. He made that pretty clear. He does not believe in your free speech.
You're the one who shut up.
No, he said very clearly.
Okay,
he said, I support free speech so that I can get one election. After one election, my guy comes in. And after my guy comes in, nobody gets to speak or vote again.
We all listen to your
Why would I debate that?
We listen to your conversation.
Well, I'm reminding you what it was said because you just misrepresented.
Let's bring it back to the Constitution.
Please do. First, fourth, fifth, 14th Amendments. Those are the ones I'm saying Trump is defying. Do you support that or do you deny them?
I believe that the Constitution is valuable because it represents particular interests of the founding stock of Americans who made this country great.
Do you think due process is important? Some would say that's at the very core of American Constitution. Fifth Amendment.
And what I think makes the Constitution function, what allows it to save this country and to actually make it work, are the people who are...
I'm not sure where you're going with this argument.
Hold on. I'll show you.
Is Trump defying the Constitution? That's my claim. You can have these weird hypotheticals
We're taking it into a different meta, which is, what's the function of the Constitution?
I'd rather not have your...
You already did.
Yeah,
literally
now
just 5 minutes ago when you took it to immigration.
Now I don't want to.
Okay. Let's bring it back.
I want to bring it back to the first, the fourth, the fifth, and the 14th Amendments and the 22nd Amendments.
Look,
either you say... Hold on. You got two very good positions here.
I feel like the guy should have... pushed harder to get his word in here. Medhi Hassan keeps like railroading over top of them, which is a smart debate strategy. Again, think that they don't know how to handle it very well is all.
One is to say, I don't think he's defying them, and I'll say why you're wrong. Or you say, I don't care that he's defying them, as one of your colleagues said, in which case...
Dude, I love the, That's funny, dude.
I don't know where this conversation goes because you don't believe in democracy.
That's fair. Do you think it's wrong to dismantle the Constitution?
So those two options ahead of you are, do you agree?
This is important.
Do you agree? So is Donald Trump... Okay, let me ask a question back since you're asking me questions. You're not answering the basic point.
Well,
do you think Donald Trump is dismantling the Constitution? Can we agree that Donald Trump is dismantling? Because I'll agree with you on that. I think he is dismantling the Constitution.
I think he's
illegally, unconstitutionally.
I think he's interpreting it in ways that are...
No, he's not the one that interprets it, though, is the thing. He's not supposed to interpret it. The Supreme Court interprets it, and they have, and he's ignoring their interpretation. He's saying, I disagree, so I'm doing what I want anyway, despite the fact that the Supreme Court has already ruled on this and said I can't do it. I'm doing it anyway because I'm interpreting it instead of them. That's not how the government works. So you're saying he's interpreting it. Well, there you go. You agree with us then.
Agree with you on that. I think he is dismantling the Constitution.
I think he's
illegally, unconstitutionally.
I think he's interpreting it in ways that are more...
Which judges do not agree with him on.
Okay, hold on.
Which the Supreme Court has not agreed with him on.
And the judges don't agree with the people who wrote the Constitution.
I don't have any idea what the fuck you're talking about, but you know what? Fine, they don't. But they're the ones that decide it now. They're the ones that get to choose which things we do and don't do, which things we agree with and don't agree with, and how it's interpreted and everything else. The Founding Fathers did not have access to AR-15s, so they didn't agree with the fact that they should be all over the place, because they couldn't have possibly agreed with it, because they didn't exist yet, right? Judges disagree, or judges have changed the premises, or the premises have changed on their own, and judges have reinterpreted the whole thing to be something different than what it is based on the information that we have now. It's how it all works. My God.
How do you know that?
Okay, let's take your example of the Second Amendment. Let's say that a bunch of judges...
I didn't give the Second Amendment.
No,
I said
hold on.
Fourth. You don't want to talk about the ones I've given.
You're interrupting me. You're interrupting me.
You're ignoring me. First, Fourth, Fifth, 14th, 22nd Amendments. Those are my amendments that I came with today. If you don't want to debate them, just say so.
I'm trying to understand your ideology.
Say so.
You believe that dismantling the Constitution is okay when it's about parts of the Constitution.
That's kind of annoying. Good debate strategy, I think, but it is annoying.
That you disagree with.
Amendment.
You would be fine getting rid of the Second Amendment, even though that would be a dismantling of the Constitution.
No, because
now, if we went through legal channels, then I would be all in. Yes, absolutely.
it would be done via constitutional means. I'm not the one sitting here like your pal.
Okay, you have agreed. You have agreed the Constitution.
I'm not the one saying you just get rid of them willy-nilly.
Right,
I don't agree.
We're ramping up.
I don't agree that Joe Biden should come in and say by executive order, if Joe Biden put out executive order saying Second Amendment no longer applies, I can round up everyone's guns. I don't agree with that.
Your result is exactly the same.
I don't agree with them. No, but I don't agree with the method of doing it. It's unconstitutional.
That's fine.
He would have been defying the Constitution, and I would have said so, but you can't bring yourself to say so. We've been sitting here for several minutes. All of your friends have seen me ask you several times, do you agree that Donald Trump is defying the First, Fourth, Fifth, 14th, and possibly 22nd Amendments? Your colleague at least admitted that he's defying the First Amendment.
I understand that you came in here. What you are attempting to do is simply frame this conversation like you did with the first claim about Donald Trump. But then when anybody asks you any kind of question that presses you to the least degree...
No, I answered. I said I would dismantle the Constitution, but I would do it constitutionally, not by executive order.
So what I'm trying to get to is to prove to everybody who's watching that what you care about is not the Constitution in what it represents or creates. You care about the Constitution only insofar as it allows you to achieve your political worldview. We agree on that.
No, I care about the Constitution because I don't think presidents should be fascist dictators and violate the Constitution. That's what I'm saying.
You care.
And he is different. I don't think the president should have the power to lock you and me up if we write an op-ed that he doesn't like. I don't think the president should be able to crack down on us if you and I decide to go protest outside his parade. I don't think the president should be able to deprive you and I of due process or come into our homes without a warrant.
And I think,
well, let's end on an agreement then.
All right, pause. You've been voted out.
It's good to meet you. It's good to meet you, Kai.
He seemed like a nice enough guy. I don't feel like he was operating...
Avalanche,
I don't feel like he was operating in bad faith. So there's that. I don't know that he was a fascist like the other guy.
Hey, how are you? I'm Medhi.
Hi, I'm Jessica.
Nice to meet you.
How are you? So Trump is defying the First, Fourth,
Fifth, and 14th, and maybe the 22nd soon.
Okay.
If you're wondering, the 22nd Amendment is running for a third term for president. You can't do that. That's what he's talking about. And Trump has expressed an interest in doing it, even though he pretends that he's like trolling or whatever else. Who knows? But that's what he's doing.
So I want to focus on the first and the fifth.
Okay.
So you say that Trump is defying the First Amendment. Can you give me an example?
For example, he banned the Associated Press from attending White House events. A Trump-appointed judge said that was against the First Amendment. He's been cracking down on media organizations he doesn't like over their speech. If they say stuff he doesn't like, for example,
Cracking down how?
So Trump has not been violating any laws. He's been violating the spirit of the First Amendment. He did violate some laws, but the primary issue, in my estimation, is him, what's the word I'm looking for? Is him violating it in spirit. My primary issue is Trump threatening people, scaring people, creating a chilling effect, things like that.
How?
So, for example, he banned the Associated Press from attending White House events because they
can't go
said
to the White House
it's
either.
the Gulf of Mexico.
That's a clear-cut example of a First Amendment violation. It couldn't be clearer than that. And no, she can't go to the White House, but she's not understanding how the system works.
That's not how it works. They were already at the
Or she's pretending not to understand.
White House. He deprived them of access, so he punished them for their speech.
But
which is why
are they allowed to go to the press?
Which is why a judge.
It doesn't matter. He punished them for their speech. That's violating the spirit and maybe even the letter of the law. You cannot punish people for their speech as a government official. If it was just him at Mar-a-Lago and he just didn't want this one news organization around covering his golf event or something, that would be different. That's not what's happening. They're covering official, legal things, legal events that are taking place.
He appointed, Trevor McFadden said this was contrary to the First Amendment, a Trump-appointed judge. He's called MSNBC and CNN illegal. Media organizations are not ipso facto
But that's free speech.
illegal.
He can call them whatever they want.
Attacking the media
Yeah, he can
by the
attack
president
them.
as the executive?
Yeah, he can.
No, he can't. He has limits on what he's allowed to do as a government official, just like a teacher has limits on what the teacher can teach to children. They have a curriculum that they legally have to follow as a representative of the government. When they're not acting in an official capacity as an official government representative, they can say whatever the fuck they want. You know, you see a student in the store after hours and you want to walk up to the student and say, "Hey, how's it going? Hey, I go to church. Do you want to come to my church?" You can do that. But you cannot, as a teacher, tell the students to come to your church, or tell them that you want them to come to your church, or tell them about your church and how, actually, some of that stuff you can do. The point is that you can't do certain things as a government representative that you can do as a normal citizen. And Trump is acting as a government representative when he removes people from the White House press briefing room and all that.
And
say whatever he wants. That's literally the First Amendment.
he can say whatever he wants.
Absolutely.
But the media can't say what they want.
They do.
But he's going after them. He's suing them. He's using lawsuits to crack down on the press.
This is a complicated issue, and Medhi Hassan understands it flawlessly, obviously. But I feel like it's not being communicated very well. I don't know. I mean, I'm not in the seat. I'm not in the debate seat, so easy to armchair quarterback from here, I guess.
Presidents have not done that before.
To give him 34 felonies that Hillary Clinton did.
No media gave him a lawsuit.
No, but
Hillary Clinton did what? What? I'm sorry. Where did Hillary Clinton come into this at all?
Done that
lawsuits
before.
to give him 34 felonies that Hillary Clinton did.
No media gave him a lawsuit.
No, but people
We're
on
talking
the
about media.
Democratic side.
We don't talk about the Democrats.
Okay. So he can call them whatever he wants because that's the freedom of speech.
Unless he's acting in an official capacity as a representative of the U.S. government, which he was when he did that.
He can even
He's threatened to
discourage-
imprison reporters.
He absolutely.
He wants to imprison. He said reporters should go to prison for reporting. He threatened some of them with prison rape. Right? That is against the First Amendment.
Okay. How is that against the First Amendment?
You don't think sending reporters to prison for
Is he
reporting that he
sending
doesn't
them?
like?
Did he do that?
He wanted to. He said so. I would like them to go.
I would really.
It's a chilling effect. And the problem is that he's doing it as the leader of the U.S. government again.
Like to
So other people stopped him doesn't mean he's not defying the Constitution.
So
he
can
also said if you turn up,
excuse
he-
me,
please.
he can want to do something.
Yes.
That doesn't mean he will or he can.
Okay.
And I think he's very.
Well, I've already
aware
given
of
an
that.
example of something he did do to the Associated Press, but okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the Associated Press isn't allowed in the Oval Office, which is his office. That's his executive space.
It's not his executive space. It's the people's it's the people's space. And if the people are allowed there, then he can't pick and choose which people, which members of the press are not allowed in that space. If he's allowing some, but he's not allowing others because of their ideological beliefs or whatever, because they pissed him off or whatever it is, then it's wrong, morally and legally. This is the clearest cut case of a free speech violation that exists out there.
Okay.
And they are allowed in the press room, just like CNN, just like The Guardian.
Which he thinks are illegal media organizations.
He can think whatever he
calls
wants.
the media the enemy.
No, he can think what he wants, but when he says it as a representative of the government, he crosses a line.
Enemies of the people.
You called him a fascist.
Yeah.
you can say whatever you want.
Yes.
Yes.
But the president is. I'm not the president of the United States with the executive power to crack down on the media.
Amendment only applies to the citizens, but not the president.
I never said.
No, it applies to people acting in an official capacity as representatives of the United States government, like teachers, like police. You cannot, as a police officer, tell people, I'm going to arrest you if you smoke a cigarette right here, right now. And there's absolutely no other reason than just because I don't like you. You can't tell somebody, I'm going to arrest you because I don't fucking like you. You can't say that shit as a police officer, and you certainly can't do it. You're limited in what you're allowed to say and do as a representative of the U.S. government. If you don't want to be limited, then don't be a representative of the government.
In fact, Donald Trump runs his mouth more than anyone.
Absolutely, he does.
And he doesn't just say stuff. As I say, he actually does stuff. He actually does crack down. For example, you Fifth Amendment.
Yes.
Due process.
Yes.
Judges have actually said you have violated due process.
Yes, except
people on trial.
for people kind of forget the Clinton, the 1996.
Oh, here we go. Talking about Bill Clinton or Hillary or whatever. This is the problem, dude. You guys remember when somebody reminded me of this in the chat? Do you guys remember when all anybody talked about was Hillary's emails? But her emails. But her emails. But her emails. But her emails. Buttery mails. Buttery mails. That's all they talked about was buttery mails all day, all night. I don't know of a single gay dude that thinks about buttery mails more than these people think about Hillary Clinton's email. My God. Really. Get off of the buttery mail thing, please.
Immigration Reform Act, where you can get limited due process when you have expedited.
American citizens?
No.
What about American citizens?
No, she says no.
Who's getting deported? That's American.
2 American children have been deported.
Is she really unaware of this?
Multiple this year. Have you not been?
No. Their parents have been deported, and their parents say,
No, the father was American.
Baby.
No.
No, that didn't happen. They deported the child with the parent. The parent did not want this.
Mom legal?
We don't know because they didn't go to court, and the judge.
They don't have to go to court.
Yes, they do. It's called due process. Jagoff. Fifth Amendment? Is that the Fifth or the Fourth Amendment? No, it's the Fifth Amendment, right?
That's not a part of the due process.
Are you a lawyer?
I'm very aware of it.
Are you a lawyer?
Do I have to be?
You have to be a little more knowledgeable about this than you are, obviously, because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Making an argument.
Are you a lawyer?
It's
a simple question.
No.
Are you a lawyer?
Okay, we're making an argument.
I'll take that as a no. A Trump-appointed judge in the case, not some Marxist lefty judges you people like to call them, a Trump-appointed conservative judge said it is illegal and unconstitutional to expel or deport an American citizen without meaningful process. He said that in April. So that was an act that Trump did. It wasn't speech. He got rid of an American citizen from the country without process.
So
that's the Fifth Amendment violation.
Since I'm not up to date on that specific
I can give you more.
I'm sure you can. So.
Well, you weren't aware that American citizens are being deported. It's a pretty big story.
Yeah.
Maybe if you read the fake news, you might know.
Oh, she's going to start assuming things. Oh, yeah, the child, they're probably... Blah, blah, blah. They deported a U.S. citizen, is the point.
What?
If you read the fake news, you might know what's going on. A lot of American citizens
how would I know what's going on if I read fake news? I don't watch CNN or Rachel Maddow. Sorry.
That's why
Oh, boy.
You don't know that your fellow citizens have been deported this year.
My fellow citizens.
Are they not? American citizens haven't been deported?
Okay. When a child goes with their...
All right, guys, that's time. Please return to your
Nice
seat.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm honestly surprised that these people are shaking hands. I mean, I believe in honest debate, but this is not honest debate. This is like fascists attacking somebody.